All right. Today, we're diving into a crypto project called BlockDAG that's making a really bold claim. They say they've figured out how to turn all that initial crypto hype into actual lasting value. But how are they going to do it? That's the big question we're unpacking today. So here's the million-dollar question, right? How do you take the absolute frenzy of a crypto launch and build something that actually sticks around? I mean, generating buzz, that's the easy part. The real challenge is turning all that excitement into real, sustainable, long-term value. And to really get why BlockDAG's strategy is turning heads, we've got to look at the problem it's trying to solve first, and that is the classic crypto presale. You've seen it before. It's a model that so often feels like this wild boom and bust cycle, usually driven more by aggressive marketing than by any solid fundamentals. And this chart lays it out perfectly. On one hand, you have the old, hype-driven way of doing things. We're talking massive bonuses that just create inflation, a system that pretty much encourages short-term flipping, and, it whips up this huge frenzy among retail investors. But BlockDAG says it's going for a value-driven model. That means fewer incentives, creating scarcity on purpose to help the price, and really focusing on building long-term trust to bring in the serious institutional money. And that brings us right to BlockDAG's proposed solution. It's a whole strategy they've branded the value era. This is their big attempt to break free from that hype cycle once and for all. So what exactly is this value era? Well, at its core, it's a strategic pivot. It's them saying, you know what, we're consciously moving away from that growth at all costs mentality. Instead, they're aiming for a model that's built on scarcity and sustainability. The end goal here is to create real, lasting value and, crucially, build trust with their investors. The very first pillar of this strategy is scarcity, and this is a big one. They have permanently capped the total supply of their BDAG coin at 50 billion. That's the number. There will never, ever be more than that, which is honestly a pretty powerful way to engineer value from day one. Now, to really hammer home that idea of scarcity, they made a seriously bold move. They slashed the bonus coins for early buyers by a massive 75%. Think about it. Fewer bonus coins floating around means way less inflationary pressure when the project actually launches. It's all about protecting the coin's value. And, their strategy seems to be paying off. They've already locked in $86 million in institutional investment. Now, this isn't just retail fear of missing out. We're talking about serious capital from investors who really do their homework. That adds a huge layer of credibility to the whole thing. So here's a quick look at the timeline. The value era was just announced. And get this, more than half of the entire coin supply has already been sold in the presale. And that presale is set to wrap up on February 10th of next year, which puts a very clear deadline on this whole initial phase. So why is this whole strategy getting so much traction? I mean, the project has pulled in over $430 million in its presale, and it's definitely caught the eye of those big institutional players. Let's break down the bull case and see what's getting them so excited. Okay, so it really boils down to four key pillars here. First, that engineered scarcity we talked about is designed to create upward pressure on the price. Second, getting that institutional validation builds a ton of trust. Third, the massive amount of money from the presale gives them a huge war chest to fund a successful launch. And finally, building a loyal community of long-term holders helps create a much more stable foundation for the coin's value. Okay, so what's the game plan from this point forward? For anyone who's watching BlockDAG, the project has actually laid out a pretty clear roadmap with three very distinct phases. So before the launch, the focus is all about the presale and keeping an eye out for news on exchange listings. Then once it launches, the strategy shifts. People will be looking at things like staking, locking up your coins to earn rewards, and managing the inevitable market volatility. And then for the long haul, success is going to hinge on real-world utility, solid partnerships, and community governance, where the holders actually get a say in the project's future. It's a pretty clear path from speculation to sustainability. But listen, for a truly balanced view, we have to talk about the risks. Let's be real, no crypto project is without some controversy, and it's absolutely crucial for anyone interested to be aware of the red flags and, be careful. And a pretty serious allegation comes from the well-known crypto researcher Zach XBT. He's claimed the project has misrepresented its leadership and that this whole value era thing is just a fancy narrative to cover it all up. Now, while this is unconfirmed, it's a significant red flag that you just can't ignore. So, with those concerns in mind, what should a smart observer be watching? Well, the key things to monitor are transparency around the leadership team, any public information about who they are, how all the funds are actually used after the launch, and maybe most importantly, whether the team consistently delivers on what they promised in their roadmap. At the end of the day, actions are going to speak way louder than words. Which leaves us with this final critical question. Is BlockDAG's value era a genuinely new model for launching a sustainable crypto project? Or is it just a more sophisticated story for the same old game of hype and speculation we've seen time and time again? I guess the next few months are going to tell us the answer.